Hey everybody, hey, Jerry West here with SEO Revolution and jerrywest.com. This is a follow-up from last week's AMA, the Ask Me Anything, that we had more questions than Michelle and I could get to last week, so this is a rundown of the rest of them, as we promised we would. First things first, I was wrong regarding the update that happened right around March 12th last month, that it was not a Medic rollback. All the sites that we had that went up were not affected by Medic before. But what was interesting, I was hanging out with Michael Roper and Josh Shampo a couple days ago, and we started going through the large sites and looking at any that got hit by the update. And get this, Walmart got hit, and Target, of all companies, got hit. And that was interesting because Google actually used them with their release of the update, saying they're doing it right. How they're doing customer service, how they're doing this, how they're doing that. They're doing it right, and they got hit. So most are saying, look, they rolled back Medic. You don't have to worry about it anymore. It's not going to cause any future issues. I disagree with that sentiment because Medic was done for a reason, and the reason was to clean up all the misinformation that has been plaguing the internet. It's been absolutely nuts. I'll hold that rant for another podcast, but you don't want to ignore this. If your traffic, for example, if you got hit by Medic back in August and you never recovered until this past one, they're going to retool it, and they're going to re-release it. And the last thing you want to do is just say, hey, I'm good. I don't have to bother with anything with my site. I'll just keep going business as usual. Yeah, you keep doing that, and when Google releases the update, same thing with both Panda and Penguin back earlier in this decade. A lot of people just got complacent and thought it was okay, and then they came back with the update because they fixed it. And Michael's opinion was, and I agree with him, is that they got severe pushback by some of their top customers with Medic, that they were hit even though they don't offer health advice or financial advice, which Google said these are the sites that will be affected. It's just like any other update. There's always going to be sites in the crosshairs that get nailed that shouldn't have been there. There's nothing that you can do about it until Google gets things straightened out. So today's Wednesday. We are looking to get a cheat sheet out by Friday. I'll work my ass off on that and get that out as a release. And that way it will be a step-by-step guide for you to go through and take care of any issues related to Medic and what you should absolutely do to protect your business and your livelihood. All right, let's get into the questions. So let's see. I have a site that I seriously over-optimized the keyword anchors and got hit pretty hard. Would it be better to just keep building branded links to this, or 3012 new domain? Also, I do have a domain that I could use, as it's nice. It's a nice site with lots of link juice. Would it be better to just de-index the old site, move the content to the new site, or I could move the content over and just 301 the domain, which is more like a spammy domain now? I hope that's clear. Yeah, that's clear. There's a few things that you can do, but what I do just to protect myself and know that I'm doing the right thing, I'll do a test to see if the new domain is going to be worthwhile. So why don't you just take one of the pages, I'm assuming if you over-optimized the anchors that you took a hit. That wasn't really the issue with Medic, but take a look in SEMrush and see about when you got hit and look for the little Google icon to see if there was an update. That's what you want to look for. So the whole plan on the test is you grab one page, you take it over to the new site, nuke the page on the old, Or what you can do as well is just do a canonical on that page pointing to the new one. I will tell you with the testing that we've done, that does take quite some time just for Google to sort through it. Or what you could even do as well is rewrite the content on that page and then take it over to the new site and see if that ranks. And I'm talking top 50 just because you have no links pointing to it. Just something, just it's indexed, it ranks for the keywords that are on that page. And if it does and it hits, then you know the site is solid and it's going to be able to rank. If it doesn't rank, doesn't do anything, chances are either that content doesn't mesh with that site, which can happen, or the site is not as good as you think it is. My whole thing is, I'm assuming this domain doesn't have good authority. For example, a DR 50 or above. Normally, anything that's over optimized on the keyword area, that will happen. Another test you could do is go through and get about a dozen and a half really solid links with your branded terms, as you mentioned. You can also do some low-level GSA as well. Make sure you go through my process, though, because if you don't, you're going to have a worse problem. But yeah, you want to focus on branded links. You can check your anchor cloud over in Hrefs just to make sure things are set. The last thing you want to do, in my opinion, is do a 301 at the end. There's a lot more you can do because you do have so much content, as what I would assume how you've written the question. So focus on those two options I mentioned before, and as a last-ditch effort, you can do the 301. But my gut tells me that this domain doesn't have a lot of authority, so that may not even be the best course of action. Anyway, hop on the next AMA. We'll be doing one in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see how you're doing. Next question, what niche or line of business would you recommend if I start from scratch with your tools and methods? I get asked this a lot, and the other question is, if you lost everything and had to start from zero, what would you do? Both questions are absolutely ridiculous and not needed to be asked. And the reason why is the whole issue is it's about staying focused and staying on point. And if you have zero interest in the subject, I'm telling you, you will get bored and you won't want to do it anymore. Back in the day when I first started, that's when DVD players first started to come out. And I did some ads and also placed with SEO, upgrading from your VCR to a DVD player for half the price you can get it for in the store. And I found this great warehouse that would sell wholesale, and it was awesome. And I was making really good money. I mean, it was really good money. But what would happen is I would get anywhere between 15 to 30 phone calls every day from some old person asking if this DVD player was compatible with their VCR. Dude, it was absolutely insane. And yeah, I could have hired someone to go through and do that, but the main issue still is you're getting these phone calls in, and it's just a pain. It's a pain in the ass. And I got bored with it and walked away. And a lot of people will also say the same thing. When I was in the weight loss industry, we got bored with that too. I mean, you can only write so much about weight loss before you start just going crazy. And that's what a lot of internet marketers will hop from campaign to campaign. They'll do a campaign for a couple of years and then jump over. And that's what a lot of the successful ones do, because the way our brains are wired we just can't sit still. We just can't do one thing. We have to hop on to the next one. So I'm not going to say, find your passion or that kind of bullshit, or find something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That's also bullshit. You have to find something that you're going to be interested in. The market that we're in right now was fascinating to me and got me to learn about it, and it's helped other areas for me as well. Anyway, long-winded rant there, but you get the picture. You want to find something that you have an interest in. That's the best option there. Are PBNs still effective as they were a couple of years ago? Absolutely. In fact, I think they're even more effective than they were. Let's see, we hit that one. We hit that. Look at the timestamps here because there's a few things that I mentioned, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually write these out, just because sometimes websites are too difficult to come through on this. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do that because it's Shoptimized, and the.domain.name is Jason Duke's service that you can go and search for any anchor text, and it'll spit out every domain that is currently available to be registered, for 10, 11, 12 bucks. And you already have a domain with all the anchors you want. 301 those all day long, and Jason is an incredibly smart guy. Let's see. Okay, does Jerry think that personalized TV advertising in conjunction with retargeting can change the game of marketing? I have no idea on that. Let's see who. Oh, speaking of which, that was Jason Duke. Jason Duke asked that question. I think we need to have Jason on the next podcast, and we can get into more of a discussion on that. I haven't done it. I haven't seen any opportunity to. I mean, I know it's happening, but it's one of those things where I remember when retargeting was just starting out back in 2011, and there weren't many companies that offered that. I know Joanna Lord did a session at PubCon on that, and that's when things started getting some traction back then. So yeah, Jason, let's get you on. Let's talk more about that. And someone wanted to know what the killer sales page was. That was the Shoptimized.net. It's Bradley Long's service. So if you have Shopify, get his stuff. Every single person I've referred over to Brad has increased their their conversions. Dude, and his lander is just awesome. That's what I mentioned on the AMA. He hired me to go through and do a site review on his page. I can't. There's nothing I can tell you to change. It's just awesome. Let's see. Next one. These dates, times, temps. Here you go. Hey, Jerry, the March 2019 Google algorithm update affected some non-medical, non-health websites. Yeah, it did. As I mentioned before, it hit Walmart and Target. Just right. It says, I have seen some of the following SERPs affected. Playground manufacturers, trekking tours. It appears some of the algorithm hit on the 13th. But saw some of the sites hit a week later on March 19th. I think it hit sites that had duplicate or similar content mostly. I did see some sites recover that were hit previously in October last year. Yeah, Google kept doing tweaks on Medic, and unfortunately the tweaks that they didn't help all those big companies. So that's when they finally just pulled it and did the rollback. Yeah, that was so frustrating with, because the whole thing was the YMYL, your money, your life, that if your site affected either one of those two, you had to go through and do all this compliance. And yeah, travel companies got nailed. Uh, Sites that had nothing at all to do with health or financial got nailed. Yeah, it was a little crazy. And now all the traffic has come back. And these people forgot, oh yeah, that's what my traffic levels were last year. No, they're thinking that something they did just caused a tremendous upswing. Uh, but one thing you have to understand and know on this whole process is, just wait till Friday and get my cheat sheet. That's going to really help you out there. And I'll let you hit. Let's see, on domain names. What does Jerry think about the effect of launching a website from an old domain that has just been as a holding page or parked, where the domain registrar has put some standard page parking adverts? Does that kill the domain for SEO too much when the registrar has put up their own standard parking crew style ad page? No. It does absolutely nothing. But here's the problem you're going to run into. And Michelle and I have tested this at length, and it still happens. When the domain is parked and there's nothing on there for Google to index that is real content, the clock doesn't start ticking for Google until you start putting something on that page. For example, people look for aged domains. Well, the age only counts if there's something actually on the page. This is going to be a really shitty example. The only thing I can think of, it would be as if you crafted a wine bottle and had it sit on the shelf, and you put the label on it with, today's date, not today, but today, but the current year, and then you waited 20 years, and then you put the new wine in that bottle and try to pass it off as a 20-year-old bottle of wine. That's not happening. And the same thing with Google. If you wait 20 years, and I've done that with some domains, I just bought them just for projects later on, and they act just like a brand new website. You will, if you're in a competitive market, you'll get sandboxed. As I answered someone from last week, there's nothing I have ever been able to do to get out of the sandbox early. It's just a holding time, and the reason why Google does that is, like I mentioned before, spammers and marketers love to jump from project to project. So this was a waiting period Google had, so people who were hopping from project to project would have to wait, and Google felt that would cut down on the level of spam, and it did. It really did. But what's frustrating is when you have legitimate business owners that want to do something and they can't because of the sandbox. I think we hit that one. On domain names, what does Jerry think about the effect of launching a website on an old domain? Oh, I just read that. Excuse me. That one's on Belgium. Yeah, I've been there. I'll post that too. Do you have any tricks to get a better click-through rate for e-commerce sites? Well, there's two things that you could be referring to on that question. One is the click-through rate in the SERPs in Google directly. Two, you could be referring to a click-through rate to go to a sales page, or a click-through rate to actually click on the buy button. Everything depends upon the market you're in, what products you're selling. Back when we were selling stuff on Amazon, we were doing supplements. We found the color orange on the buy button, and everything else was green, and the buy buttons were all orange. That increased our click-through rate. But on the SERPs, we did the schema, the stars. That greatly helped click-through rate. We also added things to our title, such as recommended, best rated, anything to get people's attention, because since the organic listings are so far down the page, oftentimes only the top 3, top 4 on the first page actually show on the first page. So you have to get some kind of attention. If you're hearing that clicking, that's my team working. This is awesome. Love hearing that sound. Getting shit done. Covered that. Here, do you still update the Google Best Practices Guide? If so, can I get a copy of the latest version? We email that out, and you kind of have to stay on the mailing list. We've had people unsubscribe and then go, hey, I haven't received my copy. Yeah, there you go. Also, since email delivery has been a little bit more difficult, just make sure you whitelist ours as well. We did do an update last year, and I'll probably do another update probably sometime in the summer, just once all the stuff with Medic calms down. Last thing I want to do is do an update, and then a week later, then the update rolls out. That would suck. Someone mentioned about AMP and speed. We don't use AMP just because we're not in the news type of cycle. So that's not anything I have experience with, and I don't know who I could bring on that is good with AMP and has actually shown proof that they can take a site from here to here with using AMP. Here's a sandbox question. We covered that. Let's see. I'm not sure if we covered this, but they're asking if expired domains are good and if you have to keep a theme. And the answer is no. You don't have to go and be themed whatsoever. Don't believe that nonsense. Test this on your own. You'll see that's absolutely true. Expired domains, absolutely. I have a course on that. Using tools like DomCop and some of the others are excellent. But yeah, this is the way that we have been able to compete, and this is a rant I do almost every year, and that is, people get on all these options, getting expired domains or automate link building, or going through and auto-generating Web 2.0 properties, and how it's unethical and not right. And how can you sleep at night doing that? I mean, all those are just ridiculous. Here's the deal, is most markets that we get into, and when I say we, I'm referring to everyone on this call here, most of the top companies have, $50 million plus in an ad budget yearly. And I don't know about you, but I don't have $50 million to go out and spend. So I'm already behind the 8 ball. I'm already at a disadvantage. So I have to use every means possible to level the playing field. And if a white hat marketer is going out and spending time getting links and posting things manually, and I choose the automated route, the process and the push on your site is the exact same. The only difference is they're pulling an all-nighter doing that. Meanwhile, my machine is posting that while I sleep, right? That's why we are in this business and using computers and using technology, is to automate this process. Instead of having an entire warehouse full of people on computers and posting stuff, I mean, that's a complete waste, in my opinion, when you can go and just get one machine with a piece of software that will do the exact same thing. Now, when we're talking about getting press releases written or doing articles for other sites to get recognized, build your brand, yeah, those you're going to do manually. But the ditch digging, Look, why would you dig a? Here's a great. Why would you dig a ditch with a shovel when you go and rent a machine and blow through what would take you all day to dig in like 20 minutes, right? So, anybody who's not taking advantage of these tools and the automation is just, they're a poor business owner. And if you have clients and you're doing this stuff manually and charging them, man, you're the person who's unethical, because there's automated tools that will greatly cut back the cost to your client. All right, end of rant. Okay, hey Jerry, I'd like to know some of the key factors that positively contribute to improving the authority trust flow metric for a given page on a site, as well as an entire domain. I'm specifically looking to see if the majestic metrics like trust flow ratio can be selectively improved to improve search ranking, assuming all other metrics are where they need to be. Now, just like PageRank, back when Google had PageRank, every measurement can be and is manipulated, especially in the expired domain list, where most people go and they take a look to see, all right, what is the DR? Oh my God, it's a 70. Oh, I'm gonna bid $3,000 on that, and then you get it, and it's just the link profile is complete shit because they did a power rush toward the end. So it's a good idea to take a look. So the things that positively drive it, and I'll tell you the one thing that has nothing, for example, the Hrefs rank, that has nothing to do with traffic, by the way. Nothing at all with traffic coming to your site. It's all about the number of links that you have with a combination of the number of referring domains. And what they look for is a smaller ratio. They don't want to see that you have 8,000 links to your site and you have 5 referring domains. They know it's a whole run of site where you have your link in the footer. So that ratio is important. And the other ratios that are important as well is the number of keywords that you rank for in Google. And they do take the top 100. So that number is going to be high. And I know Hrefs, even though they don't factor quote unquote traffic, they do estimate the number of Google clicks you're going to get based upon what you have. If you're in the top 3, you're going to get traffic. And you also have an option in Hrefs, and I mention Hrefs a lot because I'm in there every day. With Majestic, I'm probably in that once or twice a month. That's it. Hrefs, the reason why I use it so much, it's up to date. Their data is killer, and they've got a tool set that I've learned and I know extremely well. I can go in and get out really fast. Majestic, it's gonna take me longer because I just haven't spent that much time with the tool, because for me, I just connected with Hrefs, and that's the reason why I use it that much. The one thing about analyzing data is you don't want to get caught up and just keep analyzing. I mean, you can sit down and go through your Google Analytics, Google Search Console. You can go through both of them, along with Hrefs information, stuff from SpyFu, stuff from Majestic, stuff from SEMrush. You can spend 6 or 7 hours just analyzing shit, but you're not doing anything. The only thing that matters is, again, another rant. The only thing that matters is when you actually do something. So we had a rule here back when we ran the Amazon site, because we had our own website, and then we had the Amazon store. And the deal was we would spend 1 hour dedicated to the entire team. Everyone puts everything away, and we just focus 1 hour on making at least one change to the site every single day. And the rule was we had 15 minutes, and everyone had a different area. You have 15 minutes to do your analysis and then come up with ideas on what we should change. And then we'd take 5 minutes. Everyone would say their ideas. We'd decide which one was the best one. And then as a team collectively, we would then fix that one. And it would take, 40 minutes. So you have a full hour. Everyone's on board. You're making one change. And when we did that, like clockwork, every single time we did that, sales would go up. Every single time. But you know what happens? Life gets in the way. You get lazy. You get complacent. It'll be fine. Well, guess what? It wasn't fine because every day that we missed, sales would go down. So my advice always, when it comes to this stuff, get in, get out as fast as you can, and then do something. Just do one thing if you can. That's key. But yeah, so you want to focus on not only getting really good links, but you want to watch that referring domain and backlink ratio. You don't want to have, a 500 to 1 ratio. That would absolutely suck. And that's why, a lot of PBNs, what they often do is put links in the footer so they appear on every page. Because, hey, more links the better. But that will kick off that ratio, and that's also the trust factor over the trust flow. Over at Majestic, and Domcop uses that ratio. So anything over 1.0 is good. And I've even bought some domains that had a 0.6 ratio, and they turn out to be just fine. All depends. You just pop in and you take a look at their top links. If their top links are decent, it's sometimes worth the gamble. Okay. Is there evidence of ranking improvements being tied to site page speed? No, we covered that last week. It doesn't. Tim, does Google favor sites that are built with the Google API? No. Considering the API, does Google care if you use automated site building tools to create business directory listings? I stopped doing business directory listings because they just became worthless, and it was just like a little bump in the road. It didn't do much. Yeah, you can go and automate that and list your business in a whole bunch of business directories. But I'll tell you, what will, if you want better rankings, if that's what you really want, dude, just do blog comments. They do better than business directory listings. It's insane. That's why I stopped doing those, because it just didn't have any push. And all these business listing directories, there's tens of thousands of them, and most aren't maintained. They're just out there, collecting ad revenue. If they don't care, then what would be considered white hat link building, multiples directly used site on IP cloud server? I will tell you what we do for our money sites is we'll do a consistent 6 to 14 links a day that are focused on branded terms, and then we do internal links with the anchors that we want to focus on, and that's been extremely effective. But in terms of Google doesn't care what's the threshold of what you can and can't do. If you want to go out and spam a site with 1 million links, testing shows that site's not going to get de-indexed. Is that a smart practice? Yeah, probably not. Probably not. It's an absolute not. You want to be focused and get links from sites that matter. And the sites that matter, it's a real easy method. Does that site rank in Google? If the answer is yes, get a link from the site. Can you give details on what Google announced regarding pagination? Are they not following those links? Okay. This just came out. So the whole premise, if I can recall, is a number of years ago when this advice was given out. I can't remember what conference it was, but so instead of having a huge long page that just scrolls forever, you would use the rel and prev code in your document to go to the next page or the previous page. But Google would count that all as one page, not as separate dynamically generated pages, right? That it came up in some forum, and I don't know if it was John Muir who responded this way or if it was a Google engineer. It was, oh, dude, we haven't looked at that in years. We stopped doing that. So you had all these people who were touting, you must do this or else you're going to fail with your rankings. And turns out Google was ignoring it the whole time. In my opinion, how these rumors start is you'll have somebody who got chosen to speak at a conference and they're nervous. They want to do a good job. They want to come and they want to get more followers, and they think, okay, the only way I can get more followers is I've got to come up with something that is just awesome, that no one else is talking about, and they end up making shit up. And they stand up there and tell it they're a person of authority. This is the whole like 10 years ago, I started calling these things mind crimes, back from Queensryche, a mind crime. And what that is, it's a person in authority telling you a lie on purpose to lead you astray. Now, maybe they weren't telling you the lie to lead you astray, but that's exactly what happened. And most people, what they do, and this is back in the day when cloaking was just awesome, many went through in forums, don't cloak because Google will ban you, so people stopped cloaking. Well, the people who were saying don't cloak, Google will ban you, were the people who were cloaking. They got rid of all their competitors, things thinned out, and they made more money. You'd be surprised. Years ago when we were buying links heavily from one of the big link brokers, I was sitting in the front row with my link broker. And there was a person on stage, I will not mention his name or her name, got up and said, if you buy links, Google will find you, Google will punish you, Google will de-index you, your clients will hate you, your spouse will hate you because you'll have no money, just don't do it. And he leans over to me and says, he's one of our top link buyers right next to you. And this piece of shit is telling everyone don't do it. It's one thing to keep your methods secret and not discuss them. It's quite another to get up at a conference as a person in authority stating don't do this when you yourself are doing it and cleaning up. Best move? Don't talk about it. All right, is that it? Yeah, that's it. All right, I think we're on here about a half hour. Cool. All right, I'll get this posted. Watch your inbox. Watch our blog. All right, if you hopefully you're in a Facebook group following me. We'll be announcing the cheat sheet, and also we've got some pretty hot pay-per-click, paid traffic, and also a new brand on how to focus on SEO in 2019. Those trainings are coming up very soon. All right, that's it. We will talk soon.